Hey man, sit down for a second, because what I'm about to say might sting, but it's the truth. Most men refuse to swallow. She was loyal until a better option showed up. And that's the part that messes with your head. Because in your mind, loyalty was forever. In your mind, loyalty was a commitment made during late-night conversations and silent moments that didn't need words. In your mind, loyalty was sacred, but in her mind, loyalty was a placeholder, a conditional commitment, a safety net until someone who made her feel more, live more, or dream bigger arrived. And when that day came, everything she swore was true was suddenly negotiable. That's when you realize the hardest part isn't losing her, it's letting go of what you thought was real. I wrote a book on exactly this, how to let go when it feels impossible. If you're struggling with the pain of losing someone who was never really yours, check the pinned comment. It's there for you. You replay the moments, the time she said she'd never leave, the time she held you close and told you, you're the only one. And back then, you believed her, not because you were naive, but because you were real. Your love wasn't strategic, it was rooted in sincerity, and that's the most dangerous kind of love to give, because it assumes the other person plays by the same rules. But brother, women don't always break your heart with malice. Sometimes, they break it with convenience. And when a new opportunity shows up, shiny, exciting, filled with emotional highs, they don't stop to think about what they're leaving behind. They chase the feeling, and that's what hurts most. She wasn't pretending, at least not in the way you think. She believed it too for a while. But that's the difference between you and her. You build love through time, effort, commitment. She builds love through emotion, intensity, novelty. And when the intensity dies, so does the illusion. She doesn't ask, what did we build? She asks, how do I feel? And when the answer no longer excites her, she wonders. Not because you failed, but because something or someone made her feel more alive. And instead of watering the roots she planted with you, she chases the butterflies again. You see it all the time. Women leaving good men for flashes of attention, stable lives thrown away for a taste of chaos. And the narrative is always the same. I need to find myself. We grew apart. It's not you, it's me. But buried beneath the cliches is a brutal truth. She found someone who made her feel something stronger. Someone who didn't earn her loyalty, but stimulated her emotions. And in that moment, everything you gave, your patience, your consistency, your plans for the future, was weighed against one thing, the rush of something new. And that rush won. The hardest pill to swallow is this. She never considered that maybe loyalty means staying, even when the spark fades. That maybe the real beauty of love is found after the honeymoon phase dies. But that's a depth not everyone is ready for. Most people aren't chasing love, they're chasing highs. And when the high of your presence becomes familiar, she doesn't see value, she sees boredom. And instead of digging deeper, she runs straight into the arms of a man who represents nothing more than a temporary emotional spike, a new drug. And she tells herself it's real because it feels real, even if it's built on air. But you sit in silence wondering what you did wrong. You overanalyze every message, every interaction. You try to find the moment it all changed. But the truth is, it didn't change gradually. It flipped the moment she felt something stronger with someone else. Loyalty for her wasn't a principle, it was a feeling. And once that feeling shifted, the principle dissolved. You never stood a chance, not because you were lacking, but because she was always chasing something you couldn't control, her own emotional roller coaster. And when that ride took her elsewhere, she didn't ask for permission, she just stopped showing up. Don't blame yourself for her restlessness. A woman who trades commitment for excitement was never rooted to begin with. You gave her a garden and she went searching for fireworks. And now you're the one left picking up the pieces, wondering why your piece wasn't enough. But here's the thing, it was enough. Just not for someone addicted to emotional adrenaline. She mistook chaos for passion. And when you stopped making her feel like she was in a movie, she stopped caring about the man who made her feel safe, the man who would have stayed. There's a savage reality most men don't want to face. The better you are, the easier it is for her to leave. Why? Because your goodness is predictable, your devotion is secure, and security, for some women, is terrifying. It forces them to confront their own instability, their own need for external validation, their own addiction to uncertainty. So when someone comes along who treats her worse but keeps her guessing, she calls it chemistry, she calls it excitement, but really it's dysfunction, and instead of healing it, she romanticizes it. And you're left wondering how being the better man got you hurt the worst. Brother, she was loyal until the flirty DM, until the ex reached out, until the co-worker made her laugh harder than you did, until someone offered her attention she didn't earn, until the idea of something new seemed more exciting than the reality of something real. And when that moment came, she didn't weigh it logically, she felt it. And in her world, that's all that matters. It wasn't about betrayal, it was about sensation. And if you don't understand that, you'll keep thinking it was your fault. It wasn't. It was her inability to value what doesn't constantly stimulate her ego. So what do you do now? You stop chasing the ghost of who she was. You stop trying to bring her back to a place she left without hesitation. And most importantly, you stop thinking that her leaving says anything about your worth, because it doesn't. Her exit wasn't a reflection of your failure. It was a reflection of her fragility, of her need for constant novelty, of her emotional immaturity. And instead of begging for answers, you build, you rise, you become so focused on your growth, your mission, your peace, that when she looks back, she realizes she didn't just lose a man. She lost the man who would have given her everything. It's wild, isn't it? How she could once stare into your eyes like you were her whole world, and now she won't even reply to your texts. Not because she hates you, not because you did something wrong, but because she's already mentally moved on. She's shifted her emotional investment elsewhere, and once that shift happens, there's no ceremony, no closure, just distance, indifference, coldness that feels almost inhuman. But here's the kicker, she doesn't see it that way. To her, it's just a natural evolution of feelings. One day she was in, the next day, gone. And in her mind, that's not betrayal, that's growth. You might think, if I had just done more, if I had just changed this one thing, maybe she would have stayed. But that's the illusion. Because the truth is, no matter what you did, it would have eventually happened, because it wasn't about your effort. It was about her inability to sit still in something stable. She was always scanning the horizon for a stronger thrill, a more romantic story, a man who gave her a feeling, not a future. So she left behind everything you built for a spark that lit up fast and will probably burn out just as quick. And you're left carrying the ashes of something she never intended to preserve. But don't fall into the trap of trying to be like the guy she left you for. Don't try to become more dangerous, more toxic, more emotionally manipulative, just to be more exciting. That's not the answer. That's just you, abandoning yourself to try and please a woman who never appreciated your essence to begin with. You weren't too boring, you weren't too stable, you were too real, too consistent for someone who thrives in chaos. And if she couldn't see the value in that, then she wasn't built for the long road. She was built for detours and dead ends disguised as destiny. Here's something you need to understand. Some women are only loyal to their own emotions. They confuse stability for stagnation. They mistake peace for predictability. And they convince themselves that discomfort means they're missing out. So they leave good men in search of excitement. They walk away from loyalty because it feels too calm. And then they find themselves in cycles of emotional highs and lows, never realizing they threw away gold for glitter. But by the time they figure it out, it's too late. Because the man who once waited for them has learned to walk alone. He's found strength in solitude. He's no longer waiting to be chosen. You weren't the mistake, brother. You were the wake-up call. The man who revealed how shallow her definition of loyalty really was. The man who didn't cheat, didn't manipulate, didn't lie, but still got replaced. That's not a reflection of your failure. It's a spotlight on her character. A reminder that emotional loyalty isn't real if it's only present when things are exciting. Because true loyalty is forged in boredom, in routine, in the moments that don't make her heart race. If she can't love you when it's not cinematic, she doesn't love you, she loves the idea of you. And that idea fades the second reality sets in. So what now? You stop playing the fool in someone else's fantasy. You stop romanticizing someone who discarded you like you were disposable. You stop writing mental love letters to a version of her that only existed in your imagination, and you start writing a new chapter, one where you are the protagonist, one where your loyalty is no longer a weakness, but a standard, one where you only give to those who can receive without exploiting. That's how you rise. That's how you rebuild. Not by waiting for her to regret it, but by becoming so complete in yourself that her regret means nothing. You see, pain is the greatest teacher, and what you just experienced. That was a masterclass in female psychology. You learned that words mean nothing without aligned action, that loyalty is only as strong as the last emotion she felt, that you can be perfect on paper and still get left for someone with less to offer but more to excite. And now you have a choice. Do you become bitter or do you become better? Do you let her betrayal harden you, or do you use it as fuel to become untouchable? Because trust me, there's a version of you waiting on the other side of this pain that doesn't beg, doesn't chase, doesn't need. She'll remember you. Maybe not today, maybe not next month, but when the high of her new option wears off, when she realizes that lust isn't love, when the emotional roller coaster becomes exhausting instead of thrilling, she'll think of you. She'll remember your consistency, your stability, your depth, and it'll hit her like a punch to the gut. But by then, it'll be too late, because the man she once had, the one who was loyal, present, and all in, has evolved. He's no longer standing still. He's built a life that doesn't need her. And that's the kind of loss no apology can fix. So if you're hurting right now, good. Let it burn. Let it tear through the lies you told yourself. Let it destroy the pedestal you put her on. Let it wake you up. Because this pain, it's not here to break you. It's here to build you. To remind you that no matter how deeply you loved, you survived. And that survival means something. It means you're capable of moving on, of letting go, of loving again, but with wiser eyes, stronger boundaries, and a fire in your soul that no woman can put out. This is your turning point, your rebirth. She was loyal until a better option showed up. That's the line you'll remember. But let it be a lesson, not a scar. Let it remind you that loyalty is rare, and that it must be earned, not assumed. And next time, when you give your heart, make sure she's built for the weight of it. Make sure she's not just loyal when it's easy, but devoted when it's hard. And most of all, make sure you never need a woman's loyalty more than you need your own self-respect. Because the man who values himself first, he never begs for what should have been given freely. You know what's worse than betrayal? Pretending it didn't happen. Pretending that what she did was normal, understandable, or just how things are now. But the truth? That mindset keeps you weak. It keeps you available. And worst of all, it keeps you stuck in a pattern where your loyalty is wasted on people who don't deserve it. You don't need to hate her, you don't need to destroy her reputation, but you do need to honor what happened. She left when something shinier came along. She chose the possibility of more over the reality of you. That truth may burn now, but it's the fire that forges boundaries. And let's be honest, part of you knew. You saw the signs, the shift in her tone, the way she suddenly got busy, the way her phone became more important than the conversation, but you ignored it because you wanted the fantasy. Because you didn't want to believe that the woman who once clung to your every word could silently detach, that she could make plans that didn't include you, imagine futures that didn't have your name in them, and yet she did. Because her loyalty wasn't a vow, it was a temporary emotional agreement that expired the second her feelings did. Ronald, listen carefully. The next time you see a woman start to distance herself, don't cling. Don't chase. Don't start bending backwards to win her back. That's how she confirms she has power over you. That's how she knows you'll tolerate the emotional bait and switch. Instead, mirror her energy. Watch her without reacting. Let her drift. Let her flirt with her options. Because a woman who's truly loyal won't put herself in a position to lose you. And one who's not, let her go before she gets the satisfaction of watching you beg. You don't prove your worth by tolerating disrespect. You prove it by walking away when it's offered. Somewhere out there is a woman who will appreciate what the last one discarded. A woman who won't need to be reminded what consistency looks like. A woman who doesn't confuse butterflies with love or confusion with excitement. She won't wake up one day and realize she's bored, because boredom doesn't scare her, losing a good man does. That's the kind of woman you give your loyalty to. Not because she demands it, but because she inspires it, because she moves through life with intention, not impulse. And when you find her, you'll wonder how you ever tolerated less. but don't wait for her. Don't sit around hoping the universe drops that woman in your lap. You build your world first. You level up so hard that when a woman enters your life, she's stepping into something powerful, and if she tries to disrupt it, change it, or make you doubt it, you show her the door. You are not a pit stop on her journey of self-discovery. You are the destination, and any woman who can't recognize that doesn't deserve a second of your peace, because your life is not a proving ground, it's a kingdom, and only a queen built for truth and devotion gets the key. Wanna know why she came on so strong in the beginning? Because it felt good to be desired. Because you checked the boxes she thought she wanted, but then you gave her everything too easily. You stopped being a mystery. You stopped holding back. And while that might feel like the right thing to do, it's not what keeps desire alive. Women don't fall for men who make themselves too available. They fall for men who have depth, mystery, boundaries. The moment she felt like she had you completely, she stopped chasing, and when she stopped chasing, she started comparing, and that's when the downfall began. But here's where you rise. You stop blaming yourself, you stop taking it personally, and you stop romanticizing her exit. She didn't leave because you weren't enough. She left because you were too much, too consistent, too grounded, too emotionally strong for someone who needed chaos to feel alive. That's not your flaw, that's your gift. And you need to protect that gift from people who don't know how to handle it. Because the man who holds space for a woman's emotions without being consumed by them, that man is rare. And he doesn't waste his energy on someone who's already looking over his shoulder. She'll act like nothing happened, like her new situation is perfect, like you were just a phase. Don't be fooled. The louder she flaunts her upgrade, the more she's trying to convince herself she made the right choice. But deep down, she remembers. She remembers your calm, your patience, the way you held space for her chaos without losing your mind. And no matter how exciting her new man is, he won't replace that. Because thrill doesn't equal security. And when the novelty wears off and the cracks start to show, your memory will haunt her. Not because you're spiteful, but because you are the real thing. You are not defined by the woman who left. You're defined by what you do after she's gone. Do you crumble? Do you shrink? Do you chase her ghost? Or do you rise? Do you rebuild your frame, sharpen your vision, and walk with even more clarity than before? That's the real test. Not how you handled love, but how you handle the loss of it. Because that's where most men fall. Not in the presence of a woman, but in the absence of her. But not you. You'll use this pain. You'll wear it like armor. And the next time love comes knocking, you'll answer with discernment, not desperation. She was loyal until a better option showed up. But your loyalty? It's not conditional. It's not emotional. It's principled. And that principle will attract a woman who's built the same way. Until then, you stay grounded. You protect your peace. You refuse to hand your crown to someone who treats it like costume jewelry. Because the truth is, she didn't just lose you. She lost the only man who ever saw her clearly and still chose to love her anyway. And one day when the smoke clears and the thrill dies down, that realization will cut deeper than any breakup ever could. Cross, you don't need revenge. You don't need closure. What you need is to keep building, keep rising, because the best revenge isn't showing her what she missed. It's becoming someone so grounded, so powerful, so utterly complete, that you no longer need to be chosen. You choose. And that shift, that quiet internal switch, is the death of the nice guy and the birth of the grounded masculine. No more chasing, no more convincing, no more pouring into people who only show up when it's convenient. From now on, she matches your energy, or she exits your life. No exceptions. The lie we're sold is that love should always feel magical, that it should constantly thrill and consume us. But real love, it's not chaotic, it's calm, it's built in the mundane, in the routines, in the quiet moments. And sadly, many women today aren't taught how to value that. They're trained to chase adrenaline, to associate stability with stagnation. So they sabotage peace and call it self-discovery. They trade loyalty for excitement and then wonder why no one stays. But you, brother, you're not here to entertain, you're here to lead. And if she can't see the value in that, she's not your woman. And maybe that's the hardest part to accept, that you were never the problem. That no matter how deeply you loved, how hard you tried, how consistently you showed up, it wouldn't have changed a thing. Because it was never about what you did, it was about what she felt. And feelings are fragile, fleeting, easily influenced by attention, social media, and fantasy. But don't let that disillusion you. Let it free you. Because now you know, the only love worth building is with a woman who doesn't need to be reminded why you're valuable. She sees it, she honors it, and she never puts it at risk. Run hard. What she really lost wasn't a boyfriend. It was a mirror that showed her who she could have been if she stayed, if she grew, if she matured. You reflected the version of herself she was too scared to become. And instead of rising to meet you, she ran. She chose comfort over challenge, distraction over depth. But your path, it requires both pain and growth. You're not meant to stay where it's safe. You're meant to evolve. And that evolution will cost you people, relationships, even versions of yourself. But what you gain in return? Unshakable confidence, purpose, peace, and that's priceless. You gave her the kind of love most women beg for, and she walked away. That should tell you everything. It means you're not for everyone, and that's a good thing, because the man who's for everyone belongs to no one. Your love is not casual, your presence is not replaceable, and your peace is not negotiable, so let her go. Let her chase her better option. Let her learn the hard way, that the grass isn't greener, it's just painted, because by the time she realizes what she lost, you'll be so far ahead, she won't even recognize the man she left behind. Stop replaying the moments. Stop analyzing the messages. Stop asking yourself what you could have done differently. Because the truth is, you showed up, fully, authentically, and she still left. That's not your fault. That's her threshold for love. That's her inability to handle a man who doesn't flinch when emotions get messy. And that, my brother, is not something you can fix. So take your hands off the wheel. Let her drift. Let her chase her fantasy. You've got a reality to build. And it's bigger than any woman who couldn't appreciate you when you were within reach. One day, she'll meet a man who does half of what you did, and she'll give him everything you begged her for. Not because he's better, but because she'll be ready. Ready to settle. Ready to commit. Ready to value what she once took for granted. And that will hurt, but it will also heal. Because you'll finally understand, it was never about you. It was about timing. And while she's settling, you'll be soaring. Because your growth didn't come from love, it came from loss. And that kind of growth, it doesn't fade. It doesn't depend on another person. It's yours, forever. Let her confusion be your clarity. Let her departure be your direction. Let her silence be your soundtrack to build something louder, stronger, better. This isn't just the end of a relationship. It's the beginning of a standard, a new era of your life, where love is earned, not assumed, where loyalty is proven, not promised, where your value isn't up for negotiation. You are not a stepping stone, you are the mountain, and if she couldn't climb it, she wasn't meant to stand beside you at the top. Let that truth settle in your bones. This pain you feel right now, it will pass, but the wisdom it leaves behind, that's eternal. You now know what it means to give without being received, to stay when someone's already halfway out the door, to offer love and get silence in return. And because of that, you'll never make the same mistake twice. You'll walk with stronger boundaries, clearer vision. You'll stop falling for potential and start demanding presence. You'll stop mistaking attention for affection. And most of all, you'll never again allow a woman to make you feel like you're too much. She was loyal until a better option showed up. That's her story, not yours. Your story, it's one of a man who learned, who grew, who rose. A man who stopped chasing and started choosing. A man who reclaimed his time, his energy, his soul. And now, you walk forward, not bitter, not broken, but reborn. She left, but you stayed with yourself. And that's what makes you dangerous. Not your looks, not your status, but your unshakable commitment to never lose you again for the love of someone else. That's the power, that's the standard, that's the legacy.